Hey, everybody. Hello. I am Terry Luongo and welcome. It's Monday night. It's Team Up Zoom night, and we're broadcasting live tonight from all over the country. It's good to see so many of you, and happy April 1st. Happy April Fool's Day. And what we're talking about tonight is no joke. Okay, because we're talking about health. We're talking about the impact of the Juice Plus plant powders on your health. And tonight we're going to hear from an amazing woman. This call was recorded a couple months ago, but I just had the opportunity to view it. And I said, this is something everybody needs to see. We're going to hear tonight from Leanne Harris. And Leanne Harris spent 30 years in what she thought at the time was the health industry, but now she calls it the sick industry. And then when she was introduced to Juice Plus, and you're going to hear her story, it's absolutely amazing. She really did then become part of the health industry. So today she is a national health educator, and she's a gut health expert. So what you're going to hear tonight is a little bit more about our Juice Plus plant powders. You're going to hear a little bit about intermittent fasting. Of course, you're going to hear about the title, which is fiber, but you're also going to hear about a Juice Plus program called Shred and how that can affect your overall health. And of course, we're going to hear Leanne's amazing story, and she's going to share a couple stories of some of her fellow Shred participants. So sit back. It's about a 25-minute call. Enjoy. And I think this is something you're going to be very happy that you plugged into. Go ahead, Kathy.
Story as well.
I love this. Thank you, Rachel. And it's so good to see some beautiful, familiar faces that I know. And I love y'all's claps all the way around. What a joy. I've learned so much from so many of you on the call. I'll just share my picture, my beginning picture of my journey. I'm very transparent. I'm 62 now. And this picture that I'm going to share was when I was 40. So this is me at about 240 something pounds. And you can see the Coke is on the counter. I'm about to put all those vegetables down the disposal because the kids wouldn't eat them. I suffered daily migraines, low energy, obviously, being that much overweight. Had a lot of pain. I was on a lot of meds, and my triglycerides were through the roof. And, I was only 40, and my goal was that I wanted to be able to get up off the floor and play with my grandkids one day. At this point in my life, I'd been on every plan and diet there was. There's a lot of shame and blame and guilt around not being able to make programs work. What's wrong with me? Why can't I stick to anything? So I was just kind of a mess. I'd done everything there was to do a million times. So at this stage, I met a nurse at work that shared with me how to get plants into my diet. And we got started on Juice Plus. And, long story short, and I explained it in detail in that last video I did last week, totally transformed my life. But it was through the education. And I love the way that how you say, Rachel, that we get to rewrite our story at any age, basically. We don't have to take the genes that have been handed down to us. We don't have to settle for the way we were taught to eat. And I grew up with the TV dinners, the fast food. And so I literally did have to rewrite my whole health journey. What I love about this community is that this is a lifestyle community. This is not just a fix-it program. This is the education. So can I tell kind of how that started for me, with how it started transforming me, that education?
Yeah, because I think, we want to hear from your story of like, wow, what you learned and what power plants do, because it's like, we call it plate up, fill up the plate with plants, and then just little by little things begin to change within. But I want to hear what you've done. We heard that. What is a day in the life of how you implemented that? So for those that are on the call, like, how did you go from in real time of a junk food addict, really? And what did you implement in your life that made the changes? Because that's what it's all about, is implementation.
Right. Application. So, well, my very first step was to start swallowing those plant powder capsules and drinking water. And at the very beginning of my journey, I just heard a really clear message. I got this tap on my shoulder when it was like, I can't do this. I'm overwhelmed. This is too much. I've failed over and over and over. You know, the message I kept getting was focus on what you can do. Don't focus on what you cannot do. And at that time, I felt like all I could do was put those capsules in my body and drink water. You know, I was trying to eliminate the Diet Coke. So I was trying to make small changes. What I learned a couple years later is, you know, I'd always starved to death, counted calories, exercised to death, tracked everything. And I learned that if I would have just focused on putting the plants in first, everything else would have come around. The energy would have come, the taste buds would have changed. But I never did it that way. You know, I always ate fake, dead food, microwaved, well, certain brand names, whatever, but it wasn't fresh, raw, living food. So I'll never forget the shift in my thinking, because I know we want to talk about mindset, is, you know, I always had that mind of a deprivation. It's like, woe is me, I can't have the ice cream. Woe is me, I can't have the cake. But when I started coming into this community and learning that the reason we should probably say no to so much sugar is because it's going to suppress your immune system, it's going to rob your bones of calcium, among 72 other things to destroy your health, I would start to walk through the break room in the operating room, you know, where all the vendors had donuts and croissants every day. And I would say, you know, right now I'm going to choose not to do that, because I don't want to suppress my immune system and I don't want to rob my bones of calcium. So I brought nuts and I brought, you know, a clean drink, and I went to that instead. So for me, it was just replacing. It wasn't about denying myself. It was about finding a healthier substitution. So we talked last week about the benefits of an alkaline diet. And that's what I kind of started doing before I knew that's what I was doing. But had it not been for the education piece, because again, I don't want to live in fear and scarcity, but I know I don't want to be sick like my patients. If I don't change what I'm doing, I'm not going to be any different. And so I was like, how am I going to do this? So that's where I began, is just focusing on what is the one thing I can do. Don't focus on what I can't do. And then don't think about, what you can have, but a healthier option instead. So that's kind of where I began.
Well, you know, it's amazing what the power of plants do. I mean, the 30 raw fruits and vegetables and concentrate with the vine ripened with the skins and peelings on, and is pre-digested. So we know, as you and I have learned in our businesses, it's like this, it goes into the cell and it starts to really have all the micronutrition, can heal the body versus having to digest it. There's no digestion. It's already pre-digested. And so little things like that, what you said, the first step of water with the whole food concentrates, that makes the biggest shift, because you're start changing the taste buds. You start drinking more water, start, being educated. It helps you learn about, like you mentioned, like losing your bone health, or, what fruits and vegetables do. And then little by little things change within from without, and then it makes it easier to really implement. So maybe one more thing before we go on, tell us what you, like in a day, what do you have for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Or do you do some ideas of how you started with a shake, or to add more plants that way, or what are some things that you've done?
I would love to share that. And if you would have told me 20 years ago that I would eat like I do today, I would have said, no way. Because, we lived with Pop-Tarts and all that stuff. So I typically intermittent fast, and I can talk more about that later. But some of my favorite breakfasts are coconut yogurt parfaits, where I'll put a scoop of the macro nutrition protein powder in my coconut yogurt, with always nuts and seeds, always cinnamon. I use a lot of spices, and so they count as plants, right? So the winner of the game gets the most plants in their diet every day. That's the winner. That's who the winner is. So breakfast will be a smoothie, yogurt bowl. Love me some gluten-free toast with some smashed avocado and greens and balsamic vinegar. And I'll typically have for lunch a huge salad, with black bean patty, something like that. Lots of peppers, hummus, fruits and vegetables. I just love to do a lot of like gluten-free noodles with fresh basil and pesto, just simple, easy, light. But what I've discovered on this journey is the more fiber you eat, the less hungry you are, and the less food it takes to fill you up. So since I don't love to be in the kitchen all the time, that's a good thing, because my body's really happy with about 2 meals a day now at this point. And so we have great recipes and cookbooks, lots of good stuff. But I use a lot of beans and lentils, quinoa, nuts and seeds, a lot of nuts and seeds. But when I say a lot, I should say a big variety, just a few of each, because of course, every plant has a different meridian energy, a different organ that it works on. So maybe 2 Brazil nuts, maybe 2 walnuts. Not a lot.
You fill up faster too. And then when you're eating a lot of fiber and being educated, and we'll talk more about intermittent fasting because it's such a big deal to help our bodies clean up faster. But what's so beautiful about what you're saying is that change was possible, and you started understanding that was food over supplements. That's something that you wanted to share tonight, a little bit more of a deeper dive of why that's so important, because maybe someone on the phone or on the Zoom wanted to know, like, is there a place for supplements? And, what's the difference between, can I bridge the gap with something else? So kind of go into a little bit about why food over supplements matter.
Okay. So last week, closer to the end, I did share what I learned at Clayton College about what to look for. But I just want to go back to working in the emergency room. I can't tell you how many times I was in there when we were pumping stomachs of kids and of parents that had had too many vitamins, or they were sick from something they had consumed. So we don't always know what is in supplements unless they have the research and the certifications to show that they are clean. But if you only follow 2 rules, it's food first, right? It's always give your body what it needs. And the way I was taught is Google plants that have protein. Go there first. That's what your body wants. It knows how to deal with it. It's never toxic. We're not going to pump your stomach, if you have too many collard greens, usually, right? You may end up in the bathroom. And then look at your variety of plants and your fiber. And if you just stick with those 2 things, you're going to win all the way around. And so I always prefer to get my nutrients from food before I get something made in a lab. But that doesn't mean that I don't use supplementation, but it's always based on blood work and knowing that my body needs this. And it's always under like a functional medicine doctor of some sort that can give me a clean supplement. So yes, there is room for other supplementation, but Juice Plus has, these plant powders have pretty much everything you need, except for a B and a D, which you can get easily from supplements or meats and grains and things like that.
Well, they work all, what's so amazing when I was learning too, is that food has a synergistic profile, so that 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2. It equals 1 + 1 could equal 1,000. Our bodies can make up a lot of things by just a few nutrients, because it's what we need to be able to kind of synergize everything working together, not mega doses. And if you do supplements, they work better with whole food, as Juice Plus is a foundation. So it's so exciting. It's really, I call it God's chemotherapy. It's Mother Nature does it best. And you have learned a lot in your studies about the importance of fiber being your very best friend. And I wanted you just to kind of go a little bit more, because you went last week about fiber, but it really is feeding that gut, which is really based on a lot of things that I'll let you tell about, how to rebuild your immune system and your happy factor. So tell us more about what you've learned.
I would love to share. I printed this off before the call, and I want to read it to you because I think I'm becoming more passionate now. I mean, fiber has so many benefits, but probably the one I think we all should be the most concerned about with today is brain health. And so when you eat fiber, the more you eat, you produce something called butyrate. And I don't know if you all are familiar with that. I'm sure you've heard it, but that reduces inflammation, relieves GI symptoms, reduces colon cancer risk, regulates blood sugar, protects cardiovascular function, enhances our sleep, protects the brain, and increases plasticity. So if you can do all of that just by increasing your fiber, it cuts all disease rate. And so we know the serotonin, the happy hormones are made in the gut through things like butyrate, which comes from fiber. So it's actually changing the microbiome. So what you eat is programming your brain on how to think. And so if you don't count anything, I always say just count your fiber. So last week I quoted Dr. Will Boltzowitz and Fiber Fueled. And of course, this article is saying the USDA is recommending 30 grams of fiber a day. They're eating 50 to 80 grams a day. And they don't die of any diseases. I mean, they just don't have the disease that we have because they're focusing on plants with fiber. They cover so many bases. And again, that's alkaline. And it's just going to take care of everything. So if you Google the plants with the highest fiber, you're going to see like a raspberry. You know, it's got a ton of fiber. So it's easy to do if you stick on the alkaline side of the food chart.
Well, that's the secret sauce, right? Is being able to get the fiber, which is plants, and plants feed the good bacteria, which helps build the immune. And I love when you talked about the brain can be reprogrammed based on what you're eating. So that is your best friend, right? We don't realize it until we have to be cut short with some problems that we shouldn't have to have worried about. So eat your fiber, which is really eating your plants, because that's where they come from.
Right.
And then tell us about this. We were talking about why color matters. Even color, eating a variety is almost more important than eating the volume of fruits and vegetables, because that's what everyone knows, that 70 to 90% of diseases can be preventable. And what's the big deal about how come we have to have so much color?
Wait,
Well,
where is she at? Hold on.
Every color basically services a different system in the body. So I'll never forget when I went to hear Dr. Smokey Santillo speak the very first time, who's the creator of the functional foods that we have. He said that, every time you eat parsley, it cleanses the liver. And every time you eat carrots, it nourishes the eye. And so I went back to work, found out in my nuclear medicine hot lab with the physicist with the periodic element of table of elements, I was injecting technetium into my patients, which was number 43. And he said, Leanne, that is always going to go to the lymph system. It has an address, it knows where to go, and it knows what to do. If you want to look at the bone, you use this one. If you look at the brain, you use this one. And I said, well, does that sound kind of like food? Because I just heard that from Smokey. And he said, well, absolutely, it's from the ground. And I was just blown away to think that food is literally energy. It is information that targets a specific part of the body. So that's why I went in and did a master's in holistic nutrition, because I wanted to know what food does what to what organ piece and part. So color is very important, and variety, like you said, but even small amounts, because of that synergistic effect, are so powerful. So I'll take a couple of scoops of sauerkraut and put it on that plate with my salad. Doesn't take much. It's a prebiotic food, feeds the good gut bacteria. Just a little bit. It's just the consistency of getting in the colors, getting in the varieties, and trying to be as raw and clean as you can.
Well, it's critical we look at all the things that we try to do, but in reality is what you do. And Juice Plus makes it easy to get 30 raw vine ripened fruits and vegetables that have the vibrational frequency of the different organs. So you got the reds, the blues, the greens, the yellows, and all the variety, which Dr. Smokey Santillo had originally had targeted to match the vibrational frequencies of the different organs. So we're getting all the coverage, and we're trying the best to eat the color, but it's very challenging because there's only limited amount in the store, and it's not even that good of a quality. So what a gift to be able to have that color. And it's more of I call it a juicing. It's an advanced superior to juicing. It's more blending with all the fiber and the skins and all the rinds of all those 30 plants too. So you and I know, and you've been coaching people forever, that is the key. I know when I started my business, I saw people that were trying to juice and eat plants, which is great. When they started taking Juice Plus, it was night and day difference in how their vitality was, how quickly they changed all areas of their life because of what happened. So it's critical, and that's a blessing and a gift. And oh my gosh, the easy button. So one of the things we know we've been hearing a lot about in the last couple of years is people want to lose weight and they try to do keto diets, and you see them lose 30 pounds in 30 days, but they do it without eating hardly any fruits and vegetables. Can you tell me, because you have created an amazing educational kind of a series that I'll share the information in our chat right at the end of this, but tell us what you know about using some of the ideas with the keto results, but doing it with the plant-based twist and getting better health, more results, and even incorporating intermittent fasting into that to be able to help lower the inflammation, but also get some of the weight off too, with how we can trick the body with food confusion, and also, using that intermittent fasting as a real great way to clean up the body and to get better results.
Okay. So as Rachel, as you said, in detail, I have all that information in the talk, but I'll just give you the tip of the iceberg on that. And then I'd love to share some stories with you of people that have had amazing results. And I've had their permission to do so. But really, it's about insulin sensitivity is the crux of all this. And it all ties together because pre-diabetes and diabetes, is ravaging our country. And you can lose weight doing a regular keto diet, but the point is don't we want to be at a good body weight while not increasing our risk of heart disease, while not reducing or improving our odds to get colon cancer, while not raising our chances to get Alzheimer's. I want to get healthy all the way around. I don't just want to feel good in my clothes. I want to know I'm preventing disease. So I literally put myself on this path, took myself down the rabbit hole, used Dr. Jason Fung's work with intermittent fasting. I pulled in Dr. Bolsevitz's work, several different doctors, even Smokey Satillo, who was so far ahead of his time. I went back and reread one of his books. I was just like, wow, this guy, he really knew what was going on long before the rest of us did. And when you use the intermittent fasting piece, it gives your body a chance to, like you said, clean out. It's going to go into the liver and you find that glycogen, which is fatty liver, the sugar stored in the liver, and it's going to use that first for fuel. Then it'll go to your tissues. And I did put myself into ketosis if you really want to do that through a plant-based diet so that you are still getting all the fiber, the benefits of the plants, but you are still working on the insulin resistance, cleaning out the liver, and getting healthier all the way around. So Rachel has the link to that talk, and it goes into great detail, and be glad to share that. The intermittent fasting piece is just the way I live now. I love it. My body's real happy with that. But everybody's different, and you can play with it, and it's not hard or scary. You just have to get some education about it.
I just put it in the chat as well. But we could do it the healthy way. I have a lot of people that try to do it the other way. And we know that in the long term, it might affect things like, Alzheimer's and dementia and all these things that come out later, because it's all about, you can't see what's happening. You may feel that people can lose weight, but it's really about health and losing and being at the best weight as well. But we can achieve that with our Shred Makeover program, which if you don't know about that will be something you can ask the person that brought you here. But also what beautiful Leanne is sharing is there's a way to incorporate some components into it, like the intermittent fasting with a little bit tighter realm to get better results, and to help using some of the ideas with more of a plant-based focus. And of course, anybody that was doing keto, they need to be on Juice Plus for sure, or they're not going to have the best health and fall short. People lose their hair. And I had one client that told their doctor, she came back after a month of doing the keto, and he says, "What are you doing?" All of her blood labs had all started changing. Her hair was falling out. And she said, I was doing keto. He says, "Get off of it right away." Yeah, scary. So I want you to share some of the inspiring stories of some of the things that can inspire all of us, of what the power of living food can do, and what Juice Plus can offer all of us as our safety nutritional seatbelt.
Okay, I would love to. I'm going to share 3 stories real quick. So this first one is a friend of ours named Kevin. And Kevin was one of those guys that wanted to see if he could live on Juice Plus, and we don't recommend this. But he thought, if it's going to be that good, I want to see what it would do for me. So he went to a doctor who did his blood work and put him on a doctor-supervised shred program. And so here's Kevin, constant heartburn on prescription GERD, antidepressants, frequent insomnia, high stress, skeptical that a program as simple as this could help. So he actually looked at the blood work before and after, and in 1 month on the shred, he was down 32 pounds, 3 pant sizes, no more GERD, off all of his prescription meds, cholesterol down at 29%, and his C-reactive protein went down as well. And he has maintained this. So that is the key, is that this is something that is sustainable and maintainable. And I'll tell you, the very first thing I noticed when Kevin was doing this, his color changed and his mood changed. His tone was healthy, his skin was glowing, and he had a lighter spirit. And I mean, he was just different. And, you know, he and his wife are still very, very involved in our community and sharing this with everybody they know, because it has transformed his life. I have a couple pictures of him where he looks 20 years older, because he was just a mess. So the next person, she's actually on the call tonight. This is Susie, my friend Susie, and she went to a healthy living party, and just with 4 months of shredding, she lost 40 pounds. She'll tell you that, you know, her inflammation is, sorry, I don't know how that happened. Her inflammation is much better. Cognitive function, lowered her meds in half. Again, the acid reflux meds, tons of energy, grateful. She is inspiring the whole neighborhood. Now she's leading walking groups, and she's just, we love her. We love her sharing her story, and she's truly living the mission out of now bringing other people along on the journey with her. And what an inspiration. So this, again, is rewriting your story at any age or stage of your life. And I'm going to share one more. You know, I have a lot of stories that aren't weight loss, but these are people that are getting off meds and stuff as well. So this is Rob. He went from a 44 to a 36 pant size, blood pressure down, A1C down. His bladder and prostate issues were better. He cannot tell you how happy he is that he uses all of these plant supports. Rob travels internationally, and he said, there's no way I could get what I need in my body if I could not throw this stuff in my suitcase. So I just love that we have skin stories, we have gut stories, but they're all backed up by research. And that's really all that matters, is that we know that it's clean, we know that it works. The blood work shows it. And that is the most important piece to me.
I think for me as well, I would never have recommended this as in my practice for 24 years if it wasn't for the research. And that's the reason why we can share the stories like that, because we have the research. It is really amazing when you think about what life would have been like if I had not been on Juice Plus for 22 years, and you as well. What would have been not available for our family? The protection, it's preventing the sneaky diseases as well. It's all those things, but what about the sneaky things that we don't know that's coming, because it doesn't happen until 5-10 years down the road? They're compounding out like the iceberg. You know, it just shows itself when the symptoms appear. And it's just so grateful for you sharing with Kevin and Susie and Rob, and we have thousands of more of stories like that are shared. And you're an inspiration, Leanne, you know, just showing that you can reverse disease, you can maintain a good weight. The Shred Makeover program with the intermittent fasting, a little bit more, clear guidelines depending on how you want to tweak them, get great results, but you're getting healthier along the way and preventing disease. And so the last thing I wanted you to share, because you and I are in this mission, we're in this business of inspiring healthy living around the world, that and it's just, can't even imagine, some of the best parts of our health comes from our community. So I'd like you to close out by just sharing why this mission matters, why you chose to share this, why we're expanding. Our mission is so critical, important for those guests that are listening, that they may want to be part of the health part, but also accountability with our living mission as well.
Okay, so I never get tired of this. When I worked in the hospital, I was told that I could not talk about health to my patients who had breast cancer, who had diabetes, who had heart disease. I was written up. I was told I'd be walked to my car. The physician that I worked with said I will not be sharing anything with my patient other than pharmaceuticals and surgery, because I don't have time. I don't know anything about it. It's against the standard of care, and I don't get paid to do it. I gave my whole career to the healthcare system. I went in high school in the pharmacy. I worked 36 years, and I had golden handcuffs on. I got in there to help my patients. I knew better, so I wanted to help them do better. And I wasn't allowed. And if you're in healthcare today, if you're allowed, you are exceptional because it's against the system. And so when I realized that morally, physically, ethically, I could not know what I know and not be able to share it, I had to leave. So I did walk away 10 years ago. And I am making a bigger difference here than I could ever make in those hospital walls. Even though I loved what I did, I loved my patients, but the handcuffs were on. So I looked at my husband one day when I went to a big event here in Dallas, and I decided that I wanted to build a business on wellness that offered hope, not make a living on treating people that were sick with Band-Aids. And I called a friend and I said, show me what to do to build a business to where I can change people's DNA and give them hope. And that is what I did. We have amazing mentors. We have leadership programs. We have all kinds. I mean, Rachel, you've become one of my best friends. I look at so many people on the call. I think I've learned so much from several of you on here. I don't know where I'd be without this community. I cannot imagine where I would be or the health of my family. So last week I showed my little grandbaby, 18-month-old, eating the Juice Plus capsules, eating the whole capsule. And there's nothing that gives me more peace of mind than knowing those plants are going into my family. I wished I would have done it for my kids and myself when I was younger, but I didn't. And you can't go backwards either. But today, going forward, you can invite people to join this community because we're not going anywhere. This is not a fad message. You know, plants will never go out of fashion, right? And everybody needs them. And so we have what everybody needs. So I invite you to seriously consider how many of you can impact people's DNA. I mean, outside this community, how many of us can actually do that, you know, and make a big difference? So I will forever be grateful. Thank you for sharing, letting me share a little bit more of my story tonight. And consider partnering up because the community and accountability is everything. And without it, people don't do very well.
Well, you know, you're blessed us, our community, our international community, with just inspiring us with hope and making focus on what you can change, focusing on learning first, you know, and then just the first thing is take Juice Plus with water. You know, that's what I took away. And then realizing that we have a mission and a message and an obligation, a responsibility once we know what we know to share. And there can be a great, be able to help people bring in income, be ready for the best years. I always say be ready for the best and be ready for the worst, because you're going to have both. And this has brought blessings to so many of us to be able to share. And more than anything is be accountable, like you said, because I'm taking Juice Plus, I'm sharing in the business that I have to show up better. So it's a very good accountability, but the incredible income potential that shows really about the impact we're making all over the world. So it's very vital. But you did an incredible job, Leanne. Thank you for joining and pouring into our community. And thank you all for showing up. And all the guests, we're thankful that you showed up as well. And we'll get the recording off. And so I'll stop the recording here in a minute. Let's see.
Hey, everybody. Well, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. I've watched that now 3 times. And if we have any guests on the call tonight, and if you have any questions, please get with the person who invited you. But do know that once a month we do come together as a community and we shred. And our next shred, we shred for 10 days. And our shred program where we give up, you know, sugar, dairy, and gluten, and processed foods, and we drink water, and we take our capsules, and we drink our protein shake, and we intermittent fast, and we sleep, and we move our bodies, and amazing things happen in 10 days. So if you're interested in joining one of our shreds, we're starting one on the 8th. We would love to have you. Thank you for being with us tonight. For those of you that are Juice Plus affiliates and you're going to Indianapolis, I will see you in a few days, and we will be back together as a group next Monday night talking about how Juice Plus is jumping into adaptogens and helping people deal with stress. All right, peace and blessings, everybody. Have a great week. Don't let anybody fool you tonight. Still April 1st. Take care. Good night.